Babatunde Olatunji, apologies to anybody who knows how to pronounce that correctly, was a Nigerian drummer, educator, and social activist who spent most of his active musical career in America. He applied for a Rotary Scholarship program to America, and in 1950 went to Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia. After graduating, he moved to New York to study public administration and started a percussion group on the side. In 1958, he got a record deal, and in 1960 released his first album, Drums of Passion, which became a major hit and was an early introduction for many Americans into world music. It was nicely timed for the folk revival, which was around at that point. Since then, he's done a lot of work, worked with jazz people, rock people, funk people, soul people, all sorts of people. He was known for his outspoken progressive political beliefs. Wikipedia lists 18 albums for him, at least one of which was released after his death in 2003. Hi, my name's Dan, and this is a review of the album Drums of Passion by Babatunde Olatunji. Again, I hope I've got that at least reasonably correct. It was released in 1960. It was his first and really popular album. It's my first time listening to it. Actually, I'm going to cycle back just a little bit here. Having said it was released in 1960, it was also, I've got two release dates. One is 1959, one is 1960, February 1960. It may be that this is one of the albums that had a limited release before another official release as a more of a countrywide American release. Apparently this was common practice at the time. I found this out when I had another situation where I had two dates for an album. So I went looking, and yeah, it seems to have been a thing. So let's get into the album. It's drumming, as you might expect, is African drumming and some chant singing. Some of it is kind of more singing, some of it is more chanting. And a selection of percussion along with the drums, generally shaky things and hitty things like cowbells and kind of what sound like those things with beads on the outside, cabasa, or maracas, or all sorts of things in here. There's complex rhythms going on here, which is what you might expect from African style drumming. Some of it, in fact, mostly, is quite expressive hand drums. So things like, I don't actually know what drums it would be. So things like congas or djembes or something like that. Sounds like their skins hit with people's hands. So definitely world music. Acclaimed Music calls it Apala. This is not something that I know of, so I went and looked it up. Wikipedia says that, right quotes here, Apala is a traditional percussion-based music genre developed by the Yoruba people of Nigeria in the late 1930s. It is characterized by hypnotic call and response vocals, complex polyrhythms, and instrumentation featuring talking drums, rattles, and bells. Excuse me. End quote. Yes, it's that, definitely. I'm not sure I would say that I hear talking drums in here, which is a kind of drum that you, if I get this right, you stick it under your arm and you hit it with a stick and you squeeze and you can make it change note, like that. It sounds more like hand drumming to me, mostly. Polyrhythms, I know, is when you have several different rhythms playing against each other going on at once. But yeah, that's not a bad description of what this is. I don't have a lot more to add other than, firstly, about the recording. The recording I listened to was it's really clear and everything stands out really well. It's got really good fidelity to it. It's not clearly a remaster, the version that I streamed, but it sounds so good that if it isn't a remaster, then the recording quality was amazing for this. If this was released in 1994, it would be another good world music album. when world music kind of exploded onto the international stage. This is 1960, and almost nobody was listening to stuff like this in America or in Europe, for that matter. There was definitely a point in time where it broke out, and this was way before that. My dad would have absolutely loved this. He was really into what is now known as world music. As far as I know, he never heard it. I did therefore grow up with, uh, again, what is now called world music, often playing in the house, along with classical music as well, which was the other thing that he liked, and occasional bits of jazz. So I find world music somewhat comforting because of that nostalgia for it. I did like this album quite a lot. I do quite like a bit of African drumming. In fact, I've even done a little bit myself. I've been known to do that. Was way back in the past, and not in any major stage anywhere. I just took some classes. Anyway, that's this album. I enjoyed it. It is basically, once you've described it, that's what it is. Obviously, the songs are different from each other, but there's a very kind of constant sound to these things, and it's quite nice as actually as background music, I would say, for this. So that's what I think of this album. As always, I'd love to know what you think. So please talk to me by leaving me a comment. And that's it from me for now.